From LALATE headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Afternoons LALATE.
It's a big afternoon of Afternoons LALATE with incredible great details about your fourth stimulus check update of 2021. In today's recording, we go over that monthly stimulus check and why you're likely to get more months of checks. Then we go to the deal. Done. $3.5 trillion of checks are coming to the American people under the fourth stimulus recon. It's checks for seniors. It's checks for workers. It's not checks only for children. That was third stimulus. This is fourth stimulus, and it's all really incredible great news. Bernie Sanders calls this a historic day for the American economy and the American people. As lots of checks are coming to you, I'll be going over some of those checks. Then we cut to the bill, the vote, the dates, everything you need to know about the roads and bridges, the bipartisan. A vote was to be set with Ron Portman representing he's ready to go. But is he not? Did Nancy Pelosi call his bluff? And does Chuck Schumer have a delicious Plan B ready to call a vote on your recon this week? I have all the incredible great news in this breaking news report on Afternoons LA. Then we cut to fifth stimulus, which raises your benefits up. My SSI and SSDI viewers, your promises during the campaign trail, including my veterans, it's now happening. I'll go over all the incredible details. And then overnight, two new success stories. Ronald getting $22,000 in rent from this channel. And then I believe her name was Annabelle getting, what was it? $6,000 in utilities? I have all the incredible details. It's coming up in the second half of this video. It's a big morning. It's a big afternoon. It's going to be a big evening. And this is the incredible details you're going to see starting right here, right now on Afternoons LALATE. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. How you doing? Hope you're having a beautiful day this beautiful afternoon. And congratulations to that viewer who has now eclipsed all records of this channel with getting $22,000 in rent because of my videos. That is absolutely incredible. It is absolutely incredible. More about that later. But how are you? Hope the weather is good where you are. It rained 2 days ago, and still it feels like it's about to rain again. It's been very cold here in LA. I'm loving it. A little bit muggy. It feels like I'm in London. Just don't blow some fog on me. How are you? Jump in the live chat and tell me where you're tuning in from and how's the weather. In this fourth stimulus check update of 2021, it's so much breaking news, so many major developing details in just the last few hours about the bills and the votes. First, we'll be going to the checks themselves, monthly stimulus checks and why you're likely to get more months of checks. Then the vote, the deal, everything you need to know about the recon. It's done. $3.5 trillion of checks have now been confirmed to the American people. These are checks not for children. And someone yesterday said, do you mean children are not getting checks? No, I mean, these are not only children's checks. That was third stimulus. This is fourth stimulus. There's checks for all walks of life. And I have all the incredible details in this afternoon's LA broadcast. Then we cut to Ron Portman versus Nancy Pelosi. The bill, the vote, the dates, the calling the bluff, and the showing the cards. It got very heated overnight. And I have the latest breaking details and why Chuck Schumer has Plan B ready to go. And it's deliciousness. And then we cut to fifth stimulus, which raises your benefits up a lifetime, and the new benchmark of inflation, which will give my veterans, my SSI and SSDI recipients so much more money. I'm really excited for you. Finally, yes, that viewer got $22,000 for rent. I am so excited for you. If you've seen these numbers, they're just surging. Nisi, $20,000 for rent, $23,000 across the board. Art Sullivan, 3 items. One viewer on Saturday getting $18,000 for rent. One viewer overnight getting, it was either $3,000 or $6,000. I'm going to bring my notes back on set for Evenings LA. I think it was $6,000 for utilities. It was incredible. Incredible sums of money. I'm going to show you how you can get this money as well. And this is LALATE, America's only 24-hour day, 7 days a week financial news channel in America. Live in the morning, taped in the afternoons with a new slate of programming coming in August as more shows and more programming hits this channel. Lily shows every hour upon the hour, including a new stock show and more sirloin as he comes back from the Olympics. And so subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this channel. 400 in 1 year, next stop 1 million. Like this video, 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Thank you yesterday for one of of our biggest days of subscriber growths in nearly a week. Let's keep it going. Let's get to the monthly stimulus checks right now. Pandemic plus 1 year, that's the House approach, and Senate approach for less checks. Let's compare and contrast. House, pandemic plus 1 year monthly stimulus check. Senate, July to December. Let's go over the payouts. House, $1,000 after the first month of $2,000. Senate monthly unknown, but word on the street is the Senate would pay you this. Deliciousness, $2,000 over 6 months, $12,000, or $1,400 over 6 months, $8,400. The whole universe has changed so quickly because of Delta, and that change is very evident in understanding House versus Senate. House, pandemic plus 1 year. 4 weeks ago, we thought maybe the pandemic was not over and the legislators may just give us 1 year of checks. Then we realized maybe the pandemic's not over. 3 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, we realized the pandemic isn't over. 1 week ago, we realized the pandemic's definitely not over. And now we realize the pandemic's far from over. If that's the case, the House bill certainly pays pandemic plus 1 year, which would be more than 12 checks, which would be more than $13,000. Compare that to this and the Senate. I think you have an opinion. Vote House or Senate, House or Senate, and tell me where you're tuning in from and jump into the live chat and vote right now. House or Senate, House or Senate, tell me where you're tuning in from. And how's the weather? Who gets this fourth stimulus check? Democrats represent that if you got a third, you get the fourth. Single individual, $75,000 less, you get the fourth stimulus check. Married couple, $150,000 less, you get the fourth stimulus check. Family of four, Democrats represent, you get the fourth stimulus check. Quadruple it. Family of married couple, you double it. And if you're on benefits, you get the fourth stimulus check. Democrats represent SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, and more. The fourth stimulus check is a monthly stimulus check. It is not a waivable check. The fourth stimulus check is not income. It's not taxable. And the fourth stimulus check would be the same amount for everyone, for children, for adult dependents, for non-adult dependents, for everyone across the board. It's incredible, great news. But yes, the check is monthly. It's not waivable. And I learned my lesson over the weekend. I was at Mitch's Lobster Fest, and I saw him from afar, Senator McConnell. I walked up to him. I said, "Hi, Senator McConnell. It's L.A. Hello, L.A. I recognize you from your shirts. How are you? Nice to meet you." "Good, nice to meet you." I wanted to walk up to you and personally say hello. "Well, that's very kind of you. I know I didn't want to wave from afar because you're not a waivable check." "I'm not a waivable check, L.A. And, you're not really a monthly check either." "Get out of here, L.A." The fourth stimulus check is heating up, and in the second half of this video, we'll go over the bill, the vote, and the dates. But first, the deliciousness. $3.5 trillion of checks have been conferred to the American people. Bernie Sanders celebrated that announcement. It's $3.5 trillion of checks. The recon has been agreed upon and ostensibly done for purposes of the American people. It will be $3.5 trillion of checks. Checks of all walk of life. Checks for seniors, checks for workers. I have all the details coming up later in this video. And in the third part of this video, we'll go over what happened with Ron Portman and Nancy Pelosi overnight. What happened with Mitch McConnell on Sunday and Saturday. And is Plan B ready? Ron Portman represented the vote was ready for the bipartisan, the roads and bridges, but it didn't happen. So then what? Is it going to happen still this week? And does Chuck Schumer have a Plan B ready to go? And did Nancy Pelosi call Ron Portman's bluff? It's heating up in the final 15 of the final 7 of this video. Stay to the final 15 minutes. It's all breaking news. It's all new today. And it's all really shocking. But first, here's a preview of his stimulus. It raises your benefits up for my beneficiaries. We go over this because of my beneficiaries. They were promised this during the campaign trail. SSI, SSDI, VA benefits. Not delivered. And suddenly, the Democrats, Senate and House have stepped up to take care of this for you. And they are doing it. It's this fall, and I have it later in this video. But first, let's get some money. And boy, Donald, congratulations to you. $22,000 for rent was obtained by a viewer overnight. It eclipsed anything we've seen on this channel. If you're in the live chat right now, post your rent, post your utilities, post your SNAP. Let's go over how we got here. The success stories in the last 48 hours have just really ramped up. I have been reporting for weeks that on rent, I can get you $5,000 to $6,000 for rent, for 4 to 6 months of rent. But then Nisi got $20,000 for rent. Congratulations, Nisi. She got $23,000 across the board. Then that number eclipsed overnight. A viewer told me that he was watching my videos since January, and then when in March, the state of California opened up a rent program, he applied immediately. This is like Kevin Lee, one of my original viewers from April of last year, who when he heard rent open up in Texas, he's in Dallas, he applied in, I believe it was June of last year, when I was doing this video as well. He got the money, saved his home, his business, and everything. But this viewer heard my videos in January, watched them all the way through March, and then when California opened up a rent program in March, he applied. He just got approved. $22,000 of rent. Then when we talk about utilities, I said $300 of utilities. Viewers are getting $3,000 of utilities, but overnight, I had to check my notes, and I'll bring them on set for Evening Delight. I think the viewer said to me she got $6,000 in utilities. I'm just, this is overnight, and it came in through Instagram. I'm just so excited for her. It's just incredible. Then when we talk about Snap, we have been talking about $5,000 to $6,000 of Snap that I can get you on this channel. Now, viewers, John got $10,000 to $12,000. Louis, $18,000. Just incredible. Let's go over all this incredible, great news. Get a pen and paper ready. I'm going to show you how you get this money for rent, utilities, internet, Snap, and homeowners utilities. This is what we do here. This is what we do here. We cash checks. We don't track checks. This money is available for you, so why would you not get it? In spring of last year, this channel launched, and people's EIDL loans and grants checks were not coming. There were no checks to track, but we cash checks. I got viewers $25 million of EIDL loans and grants checks to cash. Then in fall of 2020, second stimulus checks were not coming, but I got viewers $250,000 of checks to cash. Like Tyrone, his family 4 out of Boston, I got them $15,000 of checks, paid all their money from December to February for rent. And now we're doing the same thing. So get that pen and paper ready. We're waiting for fourth stimulus to come. It has not yet come, and I'm getting viewers a fortune of money. And it's your turn to get that money as well. We're going to get rent. We're going to get some utilities. We're going to get homeowners mortgage and homeowners utilities. I'm going to show you different places to reach out to. Each place has different eligibility, so reach out to all of them. If you get a no, reach out to the next. And viewers tell me my keywords are critical in getting approved, so watch these keywords. All right, you ready? Here we go. You're going to reach out to your city hall, your city housing authority, your county hall, your county housing authority, your state hall, as that viewer did overnight on in California, 22,000. Your state hall and your state housing authority. He got from the state. He listened to me because there's different places you apply. And the keywords you're going to use are rent assistance because of COVID, or mortgage or utility assistance because of COVID. You don't say words they don't know, like stimulus or Mitch's popularity. You don't know that. Just no one has ever known that. So there you go. Congratulations, Tim and Linda, who got this wonderful pot of money. If you got a rent, post in the live chat right now. The next pot of the money is rent. We just did that. Snap. Tim, and this is just incredible news. Lynn Glenn got it for herself, her son, and her mom. Gail got it as well. But John, congratulations, my friend. He got $10,000 to $12,000 of Snap. And then just days later, Louis got $18,000. Yes. What is Snap? It is money for food. How do you get it? Department of Agriculture. Contact DOA. What's the eligibility? Easier than a stimulus check. Why would you not get it? It pays for your food. And how much does it pay? A fortune. A family of 4 out of Hawaii gets upwards of $16,000 a year. So go get it. Why is it so much money? Because of 2 wonderful executive orders. One from Biden, one from Trump that raise your benefits up 15% between now and December. And there you go. You're killing it. We're killing it. Rent, I said $5,000. Now viewers are getting $22,000 for rent. Utilities, I said $300. Now viewers are getting $3,000. And then Snap, I said $5,000 to $6,000. Now viewers are getting $18,000. So go get it. We're killing it. And we're only 13 minutes in this video. I got more money for you right now. It's the money coming back from your states. The state money is incredible. This is the refund check due to overpayment of unemployment benefits due to computer error. Federal government has ordered to you. So where's it landing? Direct deposit. When? Reach out to your state and say, hey, state, where's that money due to overpayment of unemployment benefits? And can you track it with a computer that actually works this time? And finally, the last, and one viewer got $3,000 from this and another got $5,000. If you got this as well, post in the live chat. And finally, the refund check back from IRS. It's incredible. Margaret got it, Tim got it, and also Cod got it. If you haven't gotten it, I got some great news from IRS. It's coming as a waivable check. Yeah, Mitch, it's actually a waivable check. The latest refund round, that's a tongue twister, is $1,265. Direct deposit started July 14th for this round. Paper checks July 16th. There'll be a new wave of checks every week. Now, before we go over how to get this, let's go over something important. If you're on the live chat and you've not posted the rent, utilities, or Snap success stories, please post them. Even if you post them before, please post them, because guess what? It inspires other people to get them. Like the viewer who got $22,000. He watched the videos. He was inspired by you. So if you got the money, post it. It helps other viewers by inspiring them to get it. Because if they're in a live chat with 2,000 people and they see 200 people getting that money, then they apply. Next, it inspires people who got one item to get multiple sums of items. So if that viewer who got 22,000 for rent, he shouldn't stop there. He should still go get some Snap. Art Sullivan is the inspiration for this one. He got 3 items on this channel. Keep on going, keep on getting other items. And number 3, it updates us about the numbers. When we see these numbers and we go from $5,000 of rent to $20,000 to $22,000, we know the sky's the limit. All right, the refund check from IRS, how much? Let's say it's $9,000 of total unemployment benefits. You paid $5,000 of taxes, of which $4,000 was your taxes on unemployment benefits. You're getting back $4,000. Where? Direct deposit. Otherwise, in the mail. Can you track it? Yes, you can track it. Go to irs.gov and do a transcript search. And it'll reveal stuff you never knew. First, it'll reveal the tax return you filed, and it'll reveal the tax check you paid. But then it'll reveal stuff you just sort of never wanted to know. It'll reveal when Mitch was on Star Search and he did the spokesperson contest. Was that hair by Amazon Hair? And was that really teal that he was wearing? Was it the teal monster who inspired him? And finally, it will reveal the tax refund check you're getting. Can we top that? We can, as we go to the second part of your 4 stimulus check updated 2021, starting right now. $3.5 trillion of checks are coming to the American people. Done deal. This is incredible, great news. $3.5 trillion of checks. These aren't checks only for children. These are checks for everyone. This is not third stimulus. This is fourth stimulus. And Bernie Sanders called this a historic day. I'm really excited for you. Well, how do we get to this wonderful spot? Well, we got to this wonderful spot by the Democrats realizing by July 4th that the recon that at that point had roads and bridges in there was not passable. They had to take the roads and bridges out, put it into something called the bipartisan, and that made the recon passable. $3.5 trillion has now been agreed upon to be paid to you. This is huge, and over the next few weeks, I'm going to ensure that you get every penny from this $3.5 trillion. Stay with this channel as we get this money over the next few weeks. Purple Hawks, get ready to pounce. Hawk, hawk. Now, when shrinking that recon to take roads and bridges out, it made the recon passable. And that passable detail was detailed in a wonderful op-ed by a conservative publication. The higher the price tag was on the recon before the $3.5 trillion, the harder it was to pass. There you go, confirmation. But by allowing the Democrats to take out some of the spending and put into the bipartisan roads and bridges, it made the overall price tag for the recon smaller. In other words, the bipartisan deal made the recon easier to pass. Sorry, Mitch, sorry to set you up. Now, normally in this part of this video, I would say Mitch doesn't feel set up because the Republicans love the bipartisan, the roads and bridges, and they're ready to start it. But a certain guy Sunday, said that Mitch and the Republicans are being set up. Who is that guy? I have his latest statements coming up later in this video. Once they shrunk that recon, the progressives were able to add more money in there and blow it up a little bit more to a price tag they love. $3.5 trillion, a done deal. And with that massive $3.5 trillion, they have your recon ready to go. And that's exactly where they wanted it. Representative Ilhan Omar previously said we have to have a recon that goes as far as we want it. You got it, Elon. $3.5 trillion, congratulations. Then Representative Richie Torres, Democrat, New York, said that we have to have a larger recon. You got it, $3.5 trillion, congratulations. And finally, Progressive Caucus was meeting with the White House daily to ensure that the recon went big and bold enough. You got it, $3.5 trillion. Well, Jalapal and also Schatz had been protecting the recon over the weeks before to ensure that it got passed. Now that it's passed for price tag purposes, it's all perfect, smoothing, easy breezy from here on out. The progressive priorities in the recon are the White House's own priorities. Schatz had said that the White House had told him, meaning that everything that's in this recon, $3.5 trillion, is all checks, progressive priority checks, and the president had told them to protect it. Now, what is the recon? What is the recon? What is it? How is it written? When do we see it? How do we see all the deal provisions? What do you need to know? And what is it also called? Let's go over all the details. And it's very important to understand these words because this morning, guess what? I turned on broadcast media and they just kept on saying infrastructure, 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 infrastructure. And they're really sort of hacking the story to get to death because they're not covering it in depth. And you just hear that one word as though everything is the infrastructure. It's not. I got to tell you, not to be disrespectful, but giving a grade to the broadcast media's coverage of the subject, I give it almost a C plus. I can't figure out what they're talking about half of the time, and I cover the subject. That's because they don't use the right terms. So let's go over the terms. You know my terms, recon and bipartisan. Recon is your money. Roads and bridges is bipartisan, not your money. That's easy. It's just two terms. The problem is that broadcast media just hacks the terms to death and just uses them like Pepsi and Coca-Cola are the same thing. They're not. So I don't know where that analogy came from, but here we go. Recon is also called reconciliation. It's also called the budget bill. The price tag, $3.5 trillion. The people quoted in an article about the recon are a Bernie Sanders. Bipartisan, also called roads and bridges, also called infrastructure. The price tag, $1.5 trillion. The items that are in the bipartisan roads and bridges, and the people quoted in the articles are basically a Kristen Sinema, or Mitt Romney, or Ron Portman. Price tag, $1.5 trillion. Pretty easy when you make it clear. That's why you're doing it here. So who writes the recon? The Democrats write the recon for the Democrats to be passed by the Democrats. The recon is all checks, lots of them. Now, who actually puts the pen into paper? Who is the actual author of the recon? The recon is actually written by subcommittees of the House as the lead authors, with the Senate subcommittees, also Democrats, helping them. Under the Constitution, different subcommittees of the House are delegated different subject matters. House Ways and Means Subcommittee, for example, is responsible for writing stimulus checks. They're also responsible for writing unemployment benefits or extension of them. When each subcommittee is done with their writing, let's say we have 10 subcommittees and they've written 10 pages, they send them up to Chuck. He combines a 10 of 10 to make 100 pages, and he puts a big bold S on it. S, what is the S for? Sassy? Salty? Schumer? Laverne and Shirley? Well, all of the above. No, it's really just for Senate. That's when we have our recon bill. Before we have the recon bill, we don't have it. And what broadcast media and I do agree upon is until we see it, we don't see it. It's sort of like a pop singer who has an upcoming album, doesn't want you to see the songs on the album or hear the songs until they're released. The Democrats are much the same way. No particular negative, no particular positive reason about it. They just don't want you to see it until it's done. And that's why it's important to understand it's not done yet. But later in this video, I have a spoiler about some of the items that are actually in there. While they're working on the recon, the Democrats don't have to show you what they're writing, what they're not writing, what they're voting, what they're not voting, what they're adding, what they're taking out. They don't have to show it to you at all. But when they do, we have the recon. Not a done deal, though, yet. Later in this video, I'll show you that even when it's debuted on the Senate side, with that S on it, it will get modified. I'll explain to you who's modifying it. It's Democrats. I'll explain to you when it's going to get modified as well. Well, that's why if you see someone in the comments that says something like, I haven't heard, or I haven't heard mention, or I haven't seen, that's because it's not bill yet. We have an emoji for that. Not bill yet. And guess what? When we see the bill, it's also not law yet. Well, how did we get to this wonderful spot from Jalapal, who had written Schumer a letter recently to say Chuck called the vote on the recon. The letter was signed by 12 House Democrats, part of 100 plus, who had written the president a letter saying, we're going to be putting monthly forced stimulus checks in the forced stimulus package. Whoa, that's a lot of them. It is. Later in this video, I'll be going back over Jalapal's urging of Chuck to call the vote on the recon, because guess what? That's what Chuck is doing now. Plan B, get ready. Spoiler alert. Can we top that? We can. As 7 House Democrats have written the president a letter saying we're going to be putting monthly stimulus checks in the forced stimulus package, and they're on the House Ways and Means Committee. Excuse me, the same group you just saw it mentioned? Yes, the House Ways and Means Subcommittee, the one that's responsible for writing stimulus checks on the forced stimulus package. 7 members recently wrote the president a letter saying, we're putting them in there. Boy, Purple Power, you have to keep them to their promise. That's a big promise, and we have to keep them to their promise. They also represent they're doing this stimulus checks next year. More about that later. Can we top that? Yes. As the president has gotten the global minimum corporate tax rate into international law. 5 weeks ago, you saw the president go overseas to have a ceremonial signature, but the actual signature of international agreements went into the books just a few days ago. The president signed the international agreement which made this law. It's huge for forced stimulus because now it doesn't need to be in forced stimulus. It's easy breezy going on here on out. Why? Because it's a confusing thing. And by not putting something confusing into forced stimulus, it just makes it easier to pass. First, easier to write the forced stimulus because the confusing thing ain't in there. Easier to call the vote on the forced stimulus because this confusing thing ain't in there. Easier to vote on the forced stimulus because this confusing thing ain't in there. And easier to pass forced stimulus because this confusing thing ain't in there. Can we top that? We can. As we go into the final 15 of the final 7 minutes, This is all breaking news. This is all new for Afternoons LA. This is all the details you're only going to hear on this channel breaking today. Totally brand new. And it goes over the bill, the votes, the dates, everything you need to know. What happened with Ron Portman? Did Ron Portman deliver the bipartisan roads and bridges ready for a vote, or did he not? Did Nancy Pelosi call his bluff? And if Ron Portman did not, did the Democrats fear that they're having the clock run out on them by Ron Portman? And do they have a plan B ready? And is that plan B ready to take shape this week? Things are moving very quickly. And then the final 15 of the final 7, we go over what's likely to happen these final 7 days as things are changing by the hour. But first, also fifth stimulus, which raises your benefits up if you're on SSI, SSDI, and by veterans. Something more wonderful than that, the volunteers. If you're having problems with that rent, utilities, SNAP, or internet, and you've had problems finding it yourself, then reach out to the volunteers. Where are they? Open the description of this video. In the description of this video, you'll see an emoji of a house. That emoji of the house has a link to the community page, news.lalate.com/community. Click the link, it'll send you to the community page. There's a picture of some kitty cats. Lower on the page of the volunteers. Reach out to them. They'll help you get that rent, that utilities, that internet, and SNAP. And I'll be back with you in just 60 seconds with the final 15 of the final 7 on this big Afternoons LALATE. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.lalate.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues on Afternoons LALATE as the final 15 of the final 7 heats up right now with a lot of big surprises. Surprises that many people did not anticipate to happen. But Nancy and Chuck had it all ready to go. I'll explain the deliciousness heating up in the second half of this video. Then we cut to fifth stimulus, which raises my beneficiaries' benefits up. This was a promise to you during the campaign trail. It's now happening. And with that, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you to subscribe and be part of this family. Thank you for yesterday for one of our biggest subscriber days in several weeks. Also, like this video, 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Coming up next is Evenings LALATE at 5 o'clock, then Overnight Crypto. And right before this was our throwback Afternoons LALATE show. This stimulus heats up this fall because the president during the campaign trail promised you a raise of your benefits if you are a beneficiary. He did not deliver. And so now the Democrats, both House and Senate, are doing it for you based upon the president's promises. This is fifth stimulus. This is this fall. It would go to legislation starting in September. Finish for a vote around October, November. You would get the benefit lift in November, and then the benchmark would be applied in December. First, they'll raise your benefit limits up. Then they'll remove the asset limit, add an inflationary benchmark, remove the income exclusion, and remove the marriage penalty. Let's go over how this works. First, the first thing they do is raise your benefits up. This is you if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, SSA, or multiple beneficiaries. Then they'll apply a new benchmark. That benchmark will be applied in December. The new benchmark, inflation. And where is that inflation rate going? It's becoming transitory. That's a key word from Jay Powell over the last month and occurs last week on Capitol Hill. Transitory is a fancy word to say it's going to reach a temporary peak at December. How high? That temporary peak will be about 5%, Wall Street said, and I said. The new housing starts today confirm that type of inflation is still at play. So there you go. So if that inflation rate does happen, this is how it would work. First, they'll raise your benefits up. Then they'll go up another 5%. But not just for next year, lifetime. Because once your benefits step up, they never step down. It's wonderful news. Then they'll remove the asset cap, dating back to a 1980s law that says you can't have more than $3,000 in hand. Then there'll be room to put some muddled blue. No. Some blue, some Casey Royal blue. No Canute, just some blue, some blue Crayola crowns in your hand, and some stimulus checks. Then they're going to move the income cap, dating back to a 1960s law that says you can't work and stay on benefits. And finally, the marriage penalty was going to end. Love is going to win, and you'll be able to do a pair dance. You'll be able to do a pair dance because the marriage penalty will end. Viewers like Rob and Sandy will be able to get married and no longer fear the marriage penalty. It would no longer be impacting people. So if you lost benefits, they would be restored. And that's this stimulus. The president also ensures Americans to remind them, if you're missing a first, second, or third stimulus check, you need to do two things: file a tax return and request it on the tax return. Finally, if you are in the live chat and you have not gotten these big sums of money, and you're noticing people who have a purple emoji of a hawk next to their name, they're Purple Hawks. Become one too. The link to become a Purple Hawk is under the video where it says join here. By becoming a Purple Hawk, you're delivered daily from me to you a breakdown of everything that is in third stimulus from the YouTube community page. It comes in the evening daily from me and breaks down all the money. When second stimulus became law and there was a $600 stimulus check, I said, sure, but I'm going to get you $6,000. I got Tyrone $15,000. When third stimulus became law and there was a $14 stimulus check, I said, sure, but I'm going to get you $14,000. Well, now, as you saw today, I got one viewer $22,000 just for rent. And I'm getting other viewers $6,000 for utilities and other viewers $18,000 for SNAP. You can add them up. It's a lot more than a $1,400 stimulus check. So consider becoming a member and get the payout of all this money that's entitled for you. And with that, let's go to the final 15 of the final 7 starting right now. Number 1, deal, done. $3.5 trillion of checks are coming to the American people under the fourth stimulus recon. The recon is your money, and Bernie Sanders celebrated this announcement. First, it's huge because it's the finality, as Tim Kaine says. Once you have an agreement on the price tag, all you have to do is just call the vote on the bill and we're done. Number 2, Bernie Sanders celebrated this price tag because it's so huge. He went into the meeting asking for $7 trillion. He sliced it in half and got $3.5 trillion, saying, I got all the payouts for the same amount for my programs, just shorter period of time, obviously half the amount of time. It's incredible. It's an enormous sum of money, and it's all checks. Bernie Sanders said these are checks he's been fighting for to get to you for a generation. And they're coming. 3.5 trillion of them. These are not checks only for children. That was third stimulus. This is fourth stimulus. And here are some of the checks. Money for children, money for seniors, money for adults, money for workers, money for non-workers, money for everyone. First, checks for free school meals for all, checks for tax breaks, checks for cheaper prescription medication, checks for immigration reforms, checks for greener farming, checks for elections, checks for free internet. Yes, they're going to be giving fortunes to the local cities so that they have free internet companies for you and provide you free internet. And then checks for clean energy. Here come my checks for my workers. Checks for workers, checks for unions, checks for collective bargaining, checks for independent contractors. And then my checks for my seniors. Checks for seniors, checks for Medicare expansions, checks for lower eligibility, checks for dental, checks for vision, and checks for hearing care. There you go. Let's cut over now to the bipartisan, the roads and bridges. 2 weeks ago, Mitt Romney said that the vote on the bipartisan, the roads and bridges, would be done last week or this week. I said, it's not going to happen last week. It's going to happen this week. Mainstream media agreed with me. Well, what happened with Chuck Schumer? Last week, Chuck Schumer called a vote to end discussion and negotiations on the bipartisan, the roads and bridges. Not a vote on the bill, but to end discussion of it. I said it was a great idea. I said it was not going to pass, but it was going to work to get fire under people's feet. It did not pass, and it did get fire underneath their feet. Right after that vote at the end of last week, Ron Portman, Republican senator, delivered to Chuck Schumer a letter signed by 11 Senate Republicans saying they're ready to call the vote on the bipartisan yesterday, Monday. Well, that's exciting, great news, because if the vote is ready to call on the bipartisan, then the vote is ready to be called on our recon. Remember, the Democrats all believe and all will hold that the recon, our money, goes for a vote before the bipartisan. And they are calling for vote first. Nancy confirms that. Chuck calls that. The president and all Schultz Jollapal. Our money goes for a vote first. If the bipartisan is ready, then our recon goes for a vote first. Congratulations, this is great news. But there's a twist to it. On Sunday, Ron Portman appeared on broadcast news on the same show as Nancy Pelosi, booked in slight segments right apart from each other. Ron Portman doubled down, saying, I'm ready for a vote on Monday. I'm ready for a vote. All my Republicans are ready. Nancy Pelosi called his bluff, said, I don't think you're ready. But guess what? If you're ready, that's great news, but the recon goes for a vote first, obviously. So when considering Ron Portman and Mitt Romney, I told you on Monday and Sunday, who do I put more weight on? Mitt Romney. I said to you on Monday and Sunday, I put more weight in Mitt Romney because Mitt Romney has always delivered on time, elements, provisions, writing. He works fast, and everything he's delivered has been exactly as so promised. For Ron Portman, I said I put less weight in. Why? Because Ron Portman has a bad track record. In May of last year, when people were losing their homes and their businesses and everything, Ron Portman said, get back to work, you're lazy, I'm cutting off your unemployment benefits. So he leaves a very sort of foul taste in a lot of people's mouth legislatively because of what he did in May of last year. And ironically, out of nowhere, since late last week, he became the quote lead negotiator for the bipartisan on the Republican side. It changes every week, but now he's sort of the self-appointed person. I say that with a sort of snide remark. He's a self-appointed guy. So what happened on Sunday? On Sunday, excuse me, let me back up. What happened on Friday? What happened on Friday? Last Friday, Chuck Schumer called a meeting for a Plan B. Several media outlets all agreed that the Democrats were setting up a Plan B. What did they say as the setup? They all agreed upon the setup. That the Republicans have a 15-year history of causing the clock to run out on Democrats. What am I saying? Let me explain to you. The Democrats going into Friday thought that, well, over the last 15 years, when we've tried to do things bipartisan with the Republicans, they say, I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready. How many more minutes? 15 minutes? 10, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Sorry, we're out of time. The Republicans have done that to the Democrats over 15 years, and the Democrats remember it. Because when the Republicans run out the clock, the Democrats are left with nothing. So the Democrats going into Friday said, well, if Ron Portman is not being accurate and he's not ready, he may be trying to run out the clock on us Democrats. So that's what all the broadcast media outlets said. But then they differed as to what the Plan B was. One reported this one, and this is the one I believe is accurate reporting. It said that Chuck Schumer called a meeting among Senate Democrats on Friday, last Friday, and said, we think that Ron Portman may be trying to run out the clock. If he is, we need to have a backup plan. And here's our backup plan. The backup plan is that if the infrastructure, the roads and bridges, the bipartisan, is not ready for a vote this week, as Ron Portman represents, then let's call the vote on the recon now, our money, even if the bipartisan is not ready. Yes, and they agreed. Yes, they agreed. This is huge, and it's totally different than their position a few weeks ago. Remember a few weeks ago, problematic Democrats said, well, if the bipartisan, the roads and bridges is not ready, I'm not going to vote in favor of the recon. I have to have everything ready. But now those problematic Democrats, according to the article, said last Friday, I think I'm being set up by the Republicans. I've given them enough time. I need to have my money go out to the American people. If the Republicans are not ready, I'm not going to wait around any more longer because I'll be left with nothing. And something is better than nothing. And so suddenly, Chuck Schumer did a wonderful backup Plan B to allegedly have the recon ready for a vote if the Republicans are not ready with the bipartisan roads and bridges this week. So that brings us up to what happened by Monday evening. By Monday evening, overnight into this show, this is what happened. Ron Portman's cards were called by Nancy. She called his bluff on Sunday, and she called his cards, and he was showed holding nothing. Ron Portman did not have his bipartisan ready for a vote on Monday. Did not have his bipartisan roads and bridges ready for a vote on Monday, as Nancy Pelosi had said on Sunday Morning News. Said, you're not ready. You just keep on saying you're ready. You're not ready. I'm calling your bluff. You're not ready. And you're holding up the entire U.S. population for something that doesn't exist. She said, I know you wrote a letter. I know you delivered letters by 11 senators, but you're not ready. So we're not going to be held up by you, sir, anymore. We're calling the vote on our recon. Whoa. So that is where we are. Let's recap, because I know that's a lot to digest. The situation a month ago is very different than how it was now. A month ago, problematic Democrats said that they will not call a vote on our money, the recon, if the roads and bridges is not ready. But there's a clock running. And as the clock starts to tick and starts to nearly run out, the Democrats are saying, no, I can't have Republicans run out my clock. They have had months to get this done. And if they don't have it done, then they don't have it done. And we have to call the vote on the recon. And they say they're calling the vote on the recon. Boy, you're going to ask me which day. I don't know which day, but it's likely this week based upon what they're saying. They gave Portman basically an ultimatum saying, show your cards or else. And he did not show the cards. By Monday, he had nothing to show. So the recon, our money, may be ready for vote. Now, what's important for you to understand is that the Democrats agree that the recon is ready to go. $3.5 trillion of checks to the American people. Checks of all magnitudes, checks across the board. Now, let's go to the bill and the vote. Now that we've sort of separated us away from the Ron Portman equation, let's go focus on just our money, the recon and the vote. When we see that recon bill and that S on it, it's not a finality. It's not a finality, but it's not months of time either, and it's not weeks of time. What I want you to know is that it starts on the Senate side, will go to the House, then back to the Senate, to the President. Here's what you need to know, is that Democrats among Democrats say they're ready to modify. Why? Because the people who have been working on the language are in subcommittees, and a lot of the Democrats are not on subcommittees, and so they've not had their bite of the apple. It starts in the Senate and goes to the House. The House members who are Democrats have already said, I'm ready to modify. I'm ready to modify. And then it goes back to the Senate for a vote over Obama 2 days. And some senators are ready to modify. This is great news for us. Why? Because when you see that recon, it may be perfect, no time to celebrate because it may be turned to imperfect. Or it may start imperfect, time for us to push to make it perfect. There is no time or place to not push because we're close to the finish line. And things get modified very quickly in the final days. Throughout 2020 and early 2021, we've had a lot of occurrences where things went up in price, down in price, out in eligibility, narrow in eligibility, down to the final minute, sometimes the final hours. These are legislators. They like to have their own bite of the apple. And with that bite of the apple, there's going to be a lot of twists and turns. For stimulus, $3.5 trillion of checks coming to you. But first, I also want you to stay focused and stay attentive to our money. Remember, bipartisan is not our money. That is roads and bridges, also called infrastructure. Our money is the recon. And with that, in this sort of longer than usual Afternoons LA, I'll have more for you on Evenings LA. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. Thank you for making yesterday one of our biggest days of subscriber growth. Hit that subscribe button right now. You'll see why this channel is reaching 400,000 subscribers in 1 year, a YouTube record. It's the most in-depth, the most accurate, the most in-depth coverage you're going to see of any issue. Stay with this channel throughout the month of August as it expands its programming schedule, adding new shows upon the hour. So you have a new show every hour, every 2 hours on the hour on this channel. With a new stock coverage show coming into this channel as it expands its financial coverage of the markets, and Sirloin coming back from the Olympics. Like this video, 3,000 likes. Every like helps. Don't forget to like the video and consider becoming a member. The link is at the top of the channel, the pinned comment, so you get access to all the big money across the board and get upwards of $22,000 as that one viewer got. Stay informed, stay focused, and I'll next see you on Evenings LA. Stay on this video and it automatically takes you to Overnight LA starting right now.